All right, well, we are back. Sorry. We are back, and we're going to continue reading books, right? What do we got to read? We've been reading June Waniko's book. We've been reading Are You Lonesome Tonight? We have been reading Mike Stone, My Time with Priscilla and Lisa Marie Presley. What do y'all think about this one? Okay. Let's talk about this book. It's sealed. Okay. Elvis Presley's Graceland Gates. I have no clue what this is going to be. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, by the way. Thank you to all of my members that are there. Thanks to those that you have left me super thanks now, today, and in the past. Thank you for all the comments y'all leave, the kindness, for the love that you show Elvis, for the love and respect that you show people that are on the channel. Oh, this is going to be cool, I think. I think this is going to be cool. So, here this is. Okay. Right away, we get some beautiful photos. Don't worry about the words. They're probably going to be backwards on the screen, as some of y'all say. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful photo, right? I'm dedicating this book to Vernon Presley as a memoriam to Elvis and his mother for being so good to me when I was in need. I would also like to dedicate this book to all of Elvis's fans and friends because without their help, there would not be a book. It was Elvis's fans who suggested I write this book, and with their encouragement and my friends, I've accomplished my goal. I sincerely hope that you will enjoy the stories as much as I've enjoyed bringing them to you. We're going to read some of this, and we're going to talk about it. If you haven't seen it yet, go to Elvis and the Legends. That's my sister channel. So youtube.com/@ElvisAndTheLegends. ElvisAndTheLegends. You've got to do youtube.com/@ little @ Elvis and the Legends, no spaces. You'll find it in a lot of the descriptions of some of the videos, by the way, as well. So look there. I just read Desiree's Lucy DeBarman's poem, if you're curious about that. And I also made a song and sung it. We'll see whether Elvis Presley Enterprises comes after me, right? If they do, what's that going to say? That's what I want to know. Okay? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love this. Look at these beautiful pictures. Okay? Author's note. I would like to begin by telling about myself and my relationship with Elvis. I'm proud to say that Elvis and I are first cousins. My mother and his mother were sisters. They came from a large family of 5 girls and 3 boys. All 3 boys are deceased. And 2 of the girls, his mother and mine, are also deceased. I was the only child my mother had. This must be, I wonder if Bobby Smith? Was this, interesting. Anyways, let's just keep reading. Should just read. All right. I was the only child my mother had. Okay, so that would have been the other sister, Gladys's sister, and then, sorry, all 3 boys are deceased, and 2 of the girls out of the 3 are deceased. Gladys, maybe Bobby. Maybe it was Bobby or Lillian. I don't know. Y'all probably know, okay? Let me hear about the history. I was the only child my mother had. I was born in Tupelo, Mississippi. Hey, on Elvis 22nd, 1929. So 6 years older than Elvis. When I was very young, my parents were divorced, and I never knew my father or any of his relatives. My mother was able to get a job in a garment factory in Tupelo for a few years before she remarried. We lived on a farm until my mother died in 1941. She was severely burned in an accident and lived only about 14 hours. Her second husband had a son from a previous marriage. He was 2.5 years younger than I was. Shortly after my mother's death, my stepfather remarried. The woman he married and I could not get along, so I left home. I lived with my uncles and aunts until I grew up, except for a short period of time I spent in the service. The whole family was so poor, so to keep from being such a burden to one family, I would live with one family for a while and then with another. I had to drop out of school at an early age to work and support myself. All of my uncles and aunts did all that they could to help me. Elvis's mother was a great woman, and she was like a mother to me. Elvis and his parents were very close. Many times while growing up with them, I can recall Elvis telling his mother, Mama, when I grow up, I'm going to get a good paying job so you and Daddy won't have to work so hard. His was a child's dream come true. Every time he would tell her this story, she would say to him, Son, I'm proud of you, but you always remember what I have always told you, that no matter what happens when you grow up, never look down on others or think that you are better than they are, because in the eyes of God, we are all equal and we are all God's children. I can assure you that I am in a position to say that Elvis always lived up to his mother's wishes. He was always a very generous person. I knew for sure that he did a lot of good deeds that were never made public. I wonder if we're going to hear something different in here that I've heard and shared, and that what Billy has shared. I would love that, wouldn't y'all? It is sad but true that there were always some that would take advantage of him and his generosity. With all his fame and fortune, he never forgot his family or friends, and most important of all, his mother's upbringing. As we know, no one is perfect on this earth, not even Elvis. But if you knew him the way I did, you would agree that he was as near perfect as anyone could be. I believe he proved this many times during his career. One thing that I'm sure of, I could never have gone through what he did without cracking up. He gave his fans the best part of his life. And although I know he loved his fans and his work, I am sure that he would have liked to be able to live a normal life. I can recall a few years back when Elvis, the guys, and I were in the house, and everyone was laughing and talking except Elvis. He was very quiet that night. He was just sitting there and looking around at everybody when he said, you guys really got it made. Really, I mean, you can go where you want to, when you want to, and live a normal and private life. You just don't realize how well off you are. Well, not one of us could disagree with him. I've had a lot of people tell me that Elvis should have retired and taken it easy. They suggested that he moved to some deserted island. What kind of a normal life would that be? Elvis loved people too much to do that. I'm not sure if there's something up with the camera, but I'm just making sure. He loved people too much to do that. When Elvis and I were growing up, I suppose I was his favorite cousin. Let me explain what I mean. As far back as I can remember, he always had a lot of toys. Oh. When I would visit them, he would get out his new toys for me to play with, but with the other cousins, he would only share the old ones. His mother would always get on him about this. She would say, Elvis, son, you shouldn't be like that. You should share your new toys with the others also. Elvis would say, but Mama, Harold takes care of them, and the others just tear them up. When I was living with them in East Tupelo, I was pulling Elvis in his little red wagon in the backyard. So he was 6 years older than Elvis. Pulling him in the backyard. I turned too fast and the wagon turned over, spilling him onto the ground. He wasn't hurt, but he was frightened and started crying. I started petting him to try to stop his crying. I was so afraid his mother was going to hear him and get me, but she didn't. She could get pretty rough when she wanted to. Now, Elvis and I loved reading comic books even after we grew up. And I'm not ashamed to say that I still love to read them now. And I also watch TV cartoons as well. When Elvis and his parents lived in Lauderdale Courts, which was a low-income housing project, he and I would swap comic books. Sometimes I would go over and borrow some books from him, and he would let me have them because he knew that I would return them in good shape when I finished reading them. He had a large book rack made out of wire to keep the books in place, and he always made sure they were neat in order and not out of place. His mother loved good gospel songs, and sometimes when I was there, she would ask Elvis to get his guitar, and she would say, let's sing some good gospel songs. Now, at that time, he only knew about 3 or 4 chords, but he would start picking, and we 3 would start singing. But we never finished a whole song because he would start acting goofy. Ooh. Let's see here. I don't have a whole lot of time to read this today. Wanted to get it started, but my son's going to be barreling through the door in about 4 or 5 minutes, and I'd like to greet him if I can. My 9-year-old. Horrible. There was a horrible elementary school. I don't want to say the word, but SHOOT. So shoot. Today. Some children lost their lives and are injured. So sounds like my son might be home. I will continue the book another time. I'll read this last line here. After a couple lyrics, he would start switching from one song to another. His mother would try to get him started again, and he would say, "Mama, I can't pick that guitar or sing either." We knew better because there were few times when he would lock himself in his bedroom and start picking and singing like crazy, and he did a real good job. He was easily embarrassed when people were watching him, but when he got in the show business, he outgrew most of the embarrassment. He could get a big laugh by putting someone else on the spot. We're going to read this book. I like it. Let me know what you think in the comments.